Hey everybody, welcome back to Play the Game HQ. I'm Daniel, and this is Realm of Reckoning. It's a new game from IV Studios. It's on Kickstarter now. We'll leave a link below where you can find that Kickstarter page. And this might very well be my favorite game from IV Studios because of a very specific mechanic that I just, as the game went on, as I got deeper into it, as I felt that the whole thing kind of build towards the end of the game and realize what was going on with that. It just kind of clicked. It blew me away. It's something I haven't experienced before in a game. I know there are a couple of games I've heard that Arcs uses a similar mechanic or has something similar to it. I haven't played Arcs, but if you like Arcs, you may really like this game. I do know it was designed and in the design process before Arcs was published, so the fact that they share that, I don't think anyone was copying anyone. I think it was just a happy accident that they both shared this mechanic, but it was new to me and it made this game come alive in a way that I just loved it. There's a lot in this game that is very familiar. There's bidding, there's draft and pass, there's things like that. And I'm not going to get really deep into the gameplay because the actual gameplay and the rules of the game are not what made me fall in love with it. What made me fall in love with it was the strategy of the game and how you were working towards getting these chunky little monuments placed where they need to go so you can score points. Now, this is a prototype, so everything you see is subject to change. You will probably notice on the overhead camera, things are kind of hard to see on the board. It's very dark. It's hard to tell the difference in the different areas. They've already addressed that and will continue to address that. So the core of this game is bidding. It's a draft and pass game. Each round, everyone is going to be dealt 5 cards. You're going to take a card, everyone is going to reveal it at the same time. They're going to take the action on the card, they're going to tuck it under their board, they're going to do some stuff, they're going to get things on the board, they're going to build up what they're doing, all for the goal of executing the reckoning. The game is played over 3 ages, and each age there's going to be 2 reckoning cards in people's hands, across everyone's hands, and then 1 final reckoning card that's going to get executed at the end of each age. So in total, there's going to be 9 reckonings, and the reckonings are what get these monuments on the board, and these monuments are how you score. So general basic overview of a turn, everyone is going to look at their cards, they're going to pick a card, put it face down, reveal at the same time, and they're going to take the action on the card. And then whatever card I use, I'm going to tuck under the board, and these symbols, so if I tuck this under the pink area on my board, I would move up 2 spaces on the pink track right there. So that's kind of, for the most part, all I'm going to go into on the gameplay and most of what you see on the board. There's tracks that you're going to move up. There's people that you're going to be placing on the board. You're going to get these wardens that will give you votes later. But again, all of it is for voting during a reckoning, which is where the core of the game comes in. It is Realm of Reckoning after all, so if Reckoning weren't a big part of the game, it'd be kind of a bad title. When a Reckoning card is played, so let's say on my turn, I played this yellow Reckoning card. It would be revealed whenever it got around to me in turn order. We would do a reckoning in the yellow area. When the game starts out, there are a lot of ways that could potentially score you points, but there are no ways that actually score you points. When these monuments get played, that determines what is going to score for that game. A monument's going to get placed at the end of each reckoning. Each reckoning has a reward card. There's 3 right here that are put out at the beginning of the age, and whoever initiates the reckoning gets to choose which reward card we're playing with. So if I did the yellow reckoning, I could choose this reward card, and then we're all going to bid with our little bidding dials right here secretly. We're going to reveal, and whoever wins the bid is going to get to choose their reward first. Everything outside of placing monuments, everything in this game outside of placing monuments is building up your ability to bid on things during a reckoning. All of these guys, all the tracks, all the pillars, all of that is working towards resolving reckonings, because when you resolve a reckoning, whoever chooses to take that top reward places one of the 9 monuments that will be placed throughout the game, and those monuments determine how the game is going to score. You're going to score at the end of each age for any monuments on the board. So at the end of the first age, you're going to score 3 different elements. At the end of the second age, you're going to score 6. At the end of the third age, you're going to score 9. Now, one really important part that really affects things and becomes very strategic is when you play a reckoning card. So I'm initiating a reckoning in yellow. I get to take one of these pillars, one of these influence pillars from anywhere on the board other than yellow and move it into yellow. So I'm going to take this pink one and I'm going to move it. That would be very bad for me strategically because I don't have much in pink. So I'm going to take this orange one and move it over here. I can now use orange wardens to vote over here. I can use orange influence. Moving those pillars brings in things you can use to vote when you're resolving that reckoning. The fact that you are playing for the ability to dictate how the game scores is something I have never experienced in a game. I've done bidding, I've done worker placement, I've done kind of building up the tracks on the board and working your way up the track and trying to get all kinds of different ways to get points. But the power that you have and the power that you are bidding on to be able to dictate how the game scores was such a cool mechanic to me. There are a lot of different things on here, different ways to score. Each realm, there's 5 realms on the board. Each one has a space to dictate scoring for where you are on the track. This one is going to score for majority in each of the different provinces on the top half of the board. This is going to score majority for provinces on the bottom half of the board, which means having your acolytes in those spaces. You have things for different sets of wardens that you have. There are things for different icons on cards for having sets of icons on the cards that you tuck underneath your board. There's all these different ways to score potentially. But when the game starts, there's no determined ways to score. And throughout the game, you're going to be building up and trying to figure out how people are going to score, trying to predict what, maybe you're weak in an area. Maybe I don't have anything in blue and a blue reckoning gets initiated. And I am just at the will of the player that wins that. And I have to adjust my strategy based on which scoring element they want to use for the rest of the game. Once a monument is placed, it can't be moved. So that is set for the rest of the game from the moment that it is placed. There are 16 different, I think I counted right. There's, I believe, 16 different scoring options, and there's 9 monuments that are going to be placed throughout the game. So you may be building up over here, working your way up, maybe collecting sets of icons on your cards, and then you just don't have the ability to win a reckoning later in the game to get that, so your work is worthless, essentially. And the final reckoning of the Third Age is the last thing that happens in the game. And that was just such a cool element to me, that the last thing that happens in the game is dictating a scoring condition. The very last thing, you have no way to react after that. You are bidding at the end of the game for the ability to determine one of the scoring conditions for that last age. There's just so much opportunity to plan and strategize and build towards what you want to do, while at the same time just trying to read other players. Again, if you want to know the nitty-gritty details of the game, there are plenty of previews for that. There is a great tutorial, streamlined as always, from Ivy Studios on their YouTube channel. I'll link to that also so you can check that out. But this was just such a unique experience that grew on me every single round that I played. But all in all, I really do truly think that this is my favorite game from Ivy Studios that they have put out. All of their games feel unique. I'm a huge fan of Moonrakers. I am a huge fan of Veiled Fate. This one just clicked for me. It made my brain work in a way that I haven't experienced before. I love this mechanic. It's brilliant. It works so well, and it creates a unique game every time you play it. It was great. I really enjoyed it. If you have any questions about it, let me know. I could go on and on about it, but it's just going to be in a circle talking about how much I enjoyed this game. Happy to answer questions. I'll leave links below to where you can check out the Kickstarter. And until next time, we'll see you later. Bye.